Yay.
Oh, it tells you. Yeah.
It's time.
It's time. Cushion to sit on. You know, my hips are much more flexible than they used to be, but yes, I will accept the pillow. Okay, and we are officially live. Okay, great. Let me just mute myself. Okay. So hello, everyone.
Hello.
WE-Solation. It's very exciting.
Yay.
So WE-Solation, super fun skill sharing workshop series with our friends because they all know really cool things, and now we all get to learn really cool things, and it's super fun. So my name is Tony. This is Lynn. We are at Plastic Free Toronto, and we have some very cool people on the Zoom with us. So we have Cassandra from at Chic Made Consciously, and I will introduce herself in one moment. And then we also have Adriana from at Collective Impact Journey, Sophie from at Your Eco Friend, and a lovely Erica from at @wisebird_Canada. So got all the people today. Cassandra, do you want to just give us a quick introduction to who you are and what we're going to be doing today?
Yeah. So hi, everyone. Thanks for tuning in, and thank you all for having me today. I'm so happy to be here. I'm the founder of Chic Made Consciously, which is a social enterprise, and we help people feel more aligned and connected in what they wear through our line of fashion accessories that are made in a sustainable way. And the way that we do that is through working with global artisans that repurpose and upcycle materials from the waste stream and give it a new life. So I have this innate passion for repurposing, and today's activity is going to be something that I've actually learned just in the last couple of weeks from being at home during this time and wanting to do more creative things around the house. So yeah, we're going to take an old t-shirt that you might have that you no longer wear and turn it into a macrame plant holder, which is so fun because I'm sure we all have t-shirts in our closet that we no longer wear. And I'm excited to show you guys how to do it. It's super simple, super easy. All you need is the t-shirt, a pair of scissors, and a key ring, which will be how we hang the plant at the end. But if you don't have that, I'll actually show you that you may not even need that. I'll show you an alternative that I made without the key ring and kind of what that looks like. So yeah, but
so excited.
Yay, me too. I actually just wanted to share too, because I launched a collection in the fall, which was from textile waste in partnership with a Cambodian group called Tonle. And this is a scarf that's all made from repurposing textile waste as well. And it's kind of this really neat way of, I'll like put my camera a lot closer so you can see it's all hand woven. And it's so special, the technique that they use, and it's all made with dead stock fabric. So essentially what large fast fashion brands would be throwing away, which is the end of the roll of fabric, and perfectly good material in really great condition. So yeah, that's one of the pieces from our collection. So like I said, I just love repurposing. I think there's so many unique things we can do with what we consider to be waste.
Definitely.
Mm-hmm.
I know that everyone on this call basically is wearing Chic Made Consciously something or other. So
yes, let's all show our goodies.
I feel like you should all show earrings.
Yay!
Who had bracelets?
I love it.
Rocking her earrings.
Yeah, so all the brass is made from repurposing war remnants, which is a really interesting story of, you know, this really tragic period in Cambodia during the war and the Pol Pot regime, and there's still between 4 and 6 million remnants of war on their land. So I'm working with a community that's taking bullet shells and landmine casings and repurposing it into some of the pieces that you see, the earrings that you're wearing, and yeah, the bracelet. And then the other collection, the earrings Adriana's wearing, is made from tire waste. So the inner tubes of trucks, motorbikes, and scooters, and those are all made in Bali. So yeah, it's awesome that we can collaborate and offer people the opportunity to learn more about conscious goods, and just that there really is another way to do things. And really that's what I'm so happy to share. So thanks again, guys.
That's awesome.
Thank you.
So nice that you can take something that's like so ugly, like from war, and make it into something beautiful. I think that's so nice.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, thank you.
Dora, who is now with us, happy to have you.
If at any point you want to say something, don't hesitate.
Yeah, just jump in. Okay. Before we get started, I'm just going to do a quick land acknowledgement. Which I thought this episode was initially going to be at 6 p.m. I don't know why I had that in my mind. As it turns out, it's not. And so my apologies if it's a little rough. But yeah, okay. So basically, of importance, we are on and live on the traditional territories of many Indigenous groups. So that encompasses the Haudenosaunee, the Wendat, the Anishinaabeg, the Mississaugas of the Credit, the Chippewa, and of course, now that there are many more Indigenous groups, you know, it's really just a home to all of us, which is super lovely. What I wanted to spend some time talking about, well, I think there's a couple things we could talk about. Nope, we're going to just talk about one thing. We are going to talk about our history. So the Dish with One Spoon Treaty is the treaty that encompasses the Toronto area. So I don't know how many of you have actually gone into the history of this treaty, but I think it's an important thing to at some point take a look at. And so I'll give a brief overview. It is by no means a comprehensive overview. Like, I have not read the actual historical documents, but basically, and also I haven't looked up these dates in a long time. So if you're like, that's not the right date, just please jump in and correct me, because very well might be something else. So my understanding is that the initial Dish with One Spoon Wampum Belt Agreement was initially an agreement between Indigenous groups for sharing and caring for the land in the Toronto area. It was in 1787 expanded to encompass British people, with the understanding that basically they would be sharing their territory. The British interpreted this a bit differently, in so much as they thought they had gained control of this territory and it now belonged to them. Of particular interest was the fact that, like, this treaty agreement that supposedly all of these Indigenous leaders signed agreeing to these terms basically had copied and pasted, like if you can picture like a chief's signature, they had literally cut it out of something and pasted it onto this new document. So like, it's not even like the actual document was signed properly. So, you know, there's some problems with that, very obviously. And then I think the British people eventually realized that there was some problems with this. So they went back to renegotiate with the Mississaugas in, I think, 1805, and basically said, okay, yes, let's renegotiate so that we can, you know, do this a little bit more formally. So that agreement basically was to grant them access to the Toronto area territory. They basically, in compensation, gave the Mississaugas and other Indigenous groups what I think was 10 shillings, which is the equivalent, from what I remember reading, of about $27 in today's terms. So by no means were they given a fortune. They were also given, like, you know, tobacco and some other ceremonial things. But yeah, so I think we would all probably agree that the value of this territory is more than $27. It would be hard to put a monetary value on it at all. But anyway, so then fast forward about 100 and something years, in 1998, the Mississaugas basically said that they were unfairly treated during this process and that it wasn't true representation of the value, and they demanded compensation from the federal government. And so that was a long process. It didn't get settled, I think, for years and years, possibly decades, I can't remember. But at some point, basically, the federal government's granted them $150-ish million in compensation and recognition of the fact that essentially it's unclear that they ever really ceded their land and that they certainly were not appropriately compensated for it. Which, I'm going to leave that story there. Like, I would say look into it more. The tricky thing with Indigenous relationships in Canada to the federal government is this notion of ceded versus unceded land. Ceded land being this idea that if the Indigenous groups have signed some sort of treaty, which in Indigenous understanding usually means that they've, you know, agreed to share the land in some way and care for the land in some way together. And we tend to interpret that as, yes, they've given up all their rights to their land. It's a really tricky legal definition. It's a really tricky ethical thing. Like, I don't know that there's any real validity going into someone's home and saying, yes, I've arrived here because you've signed this paper, now I own it. Like, that doesn't, like, if you did that to your, like, if you were a small child and you said, hey mom, I found this great thing over here, totally belonged to this other person, but because I got there and they signed this agreement, it's no longer theirs, and they're fine with that. I'm pretty sure your mother would be like, no, go give it back to them and like go stand in the corner, right? Like same sort of concept. So I think it's a really tricky thing to say, like if it's ceded, suddenly we then have all of this authority over it versus unceded where they haven't signed these treaties and therefore there's more wiggle room for interpretation as to who gets to make decisions about this land. I could talk about this all day as usual, so I'm gonna stop myself. But yeah, just something to keep in mind. I think learning our history is really important because it's not something we talk about most of the time, and it is complicated and morally dubious at best.
That was a great summary. I love that I always get a lesson from you.
That was very informative. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you.
My pleasure.
All right.
Thank you.
All right. So without further ado, let's get into the plant holder making. I have a t-shirt. I have 2 t-shirts, actually. I wanted to ask you a question. Does it matter what size of shirt you use? Because one of these is really big, and the other one is like a crop t-shirt, and I wasn't sure if this would have enough fabric.
So yeah, so the crop one will not have enough because we're going to use the bottom part of the t-shirt. And we'll need to make 8 strips. But aside from the size, if it's like not crop, just like a regular t-shirt, it doesn't matter. Your strips will just be longer if it's like an oversized tee or something bigger, and yeah, or something that's more fitted. It doesn't matter. You'll just have longer strips. Yeah, good question. But yeah, so you don't want to use a crop top because we will need the bottom part. So I'm gonna just actually set up my camera so you guys can see my hands, because I'm gonna show you all here. Okay, and then we're just gonna hope and pray that my little tripod stands the whole time. Okay, we're gonna stay put. Yay. All right, so you guys ready?
We are super ready.
One t-shirt.
Yes.
Because I didn't want to destroy one t-shirt.
Oh, you didn't want to destroy one? Okay, cool. Well, yeah, definitely you want to use something that like you no longer care about cutting up.
Yes. I actually ended up choosing one that was very special for me in the past, but I've never been able to wear it again. So yeah.
Okay, awesome. Yay, I'm so excited. Well, you're gonna turn that special shirt into something special too. So it'll just have a new significance in your life. Yeah, awesome. Okay, so yeah, as I mentioned, all you'll need is the shirt, a pair of scissors, and like this is a key ring that I found and just took off actually one of my keychains, but you can literally use anything that is circular, maybe like a little metal loop of some sort that you might have. And again, I'll show you one of the Macrame plant holders that I use without that, and I'll show you what to do at the end if you don't have that. Yeah, I just also wanted to say that I've only done this like 2 times, so I'm definitely not an expert, but I'm happy to guide everybody through this today. So I might just make some mistakes along the way, and I just wanted to let everybody know.
I love that. Thank you for sharing.
Thanks. Yeah. Okay, so you guys all ready? Are you gonna make it with me? You're all gonna make it with me, right?
I'm gonna make it later with my daughter. I'm taking notes.
Okay, awesome. Okay, cool. So the first thing you want to do is you're gonna cut your t-shirt. You want to lay it flat and then cut from under one armpit with your scissors and go all the way across to the other armpit.
This looks so scary.
I know, don't be scared. It's okay. And then the top part we're actually not going to use. Sorry, did you ask something?
No, I was just saying it's not even Nana's t-shirt, Lynn's t-shirt, and she's nervous. Okay, go ahead.
Oh. It's nerve-wracking to make the first cut, but then once you get started, you'll be okay. So the top part we actually won't be using, but we can, make sure you don't throw that away. You can use that for other repurpose activities. And I like to always say you're your own designer with everything. So you can kind of add little pieces of fabric at the end, and I'll show you like other little things you can do. Yay. Yeah. So you made the cut, and then now you just have this piece. And oh yeah, you actually want to cut the bottom off too, just because the seam, which this part is here, it's not ideal for having strips and tying. So you just want to cut that bottom part right off as well. And also, yeah, given what I love to do, I always make sure to just say, yeah, don't throw any of the textiles in the garbage, because they will, or the recycling bin, they will not get recycled in the recycling bin. So keep them aside for when you can donate clothes again, because you can donate like scraps of fabric to places like Value Village and in donation bins, because then they are used for other recycling ways and stuffing for car seats and other like fillers. So definitely just don't throw it in the garbage.
Actually, I learned that earlier this year from Kelly. Actually, she was at an event and was talking about how you can donate all of your old, like the one-off socks and even old underwear and scraps, and they use it for insulation, which is really cool. I did not know.
Yeah. So you can throw them in the donation bin as well. And like I said, you can give it to charities or various charities and places like Value Village. So yeah, that's something I also learned from Kelly. And I teach the youth workshop with Fashion Takes Action. So that's where I know a lot of this information as well.
And they have a really great resource that only started not too long ago, an organization, right? What is it? Ontario Textile Waste Diversion?
Yeah, the OTDC, the Ontario Textile Waste Diversion. Yeah, you said it. Wait, OTD Diversion Collective.
Right. Yeah, I'll make sure to put that in the description when we put up the YouTube, but that has a lot of great suggestions for where and how to make use of those textiles, right?
Absolutely. Yeah, that's great.
And I just saw Fashion Takes Action. I think they posted yesterday that because of COVID, all of the thrift stores are currently closed, and like all of the donation bins where people would usually put stuff are just getting like overcrowded, and they're just, everything put in a donation bin right now is going to landfill.
Oh, so awful.
Yes, we have to like hold on to everything for now.
Yeah, she was saying to like just hold off, don't donate anything right now, because yeah, it is like that spring cleaning time, and we are kind of in the state of we don't have too much to do, so we can clean out our wardrobes, which is great. But maybe just putting them in a box that says like donate and you can save it for later. That's definitely a good idea. Thanks for bringing that up. I feel weird like not seeing you guys now. I feel like I'm talking to nobody. Okay, so are we ready for the next step?
Yes, and I want to tell you that you are not alone. We are here. You cannot see us, but
you're so sweet. Thank you. I just feel like in these chats, I kind of was like, should I come here? Hi.
Oh, yeah. Also, hi, Janiki, who just joined us.
Yes.
Nice to see you.
Hi.
Hello.
Hi, Sarah.
This is so fun, like all the people joining. Okay, so should I just continue?
Yeah.
Okay. For whoever just joined, you can just cut the top from one armpit to the other, and just the hem is all that we did so far. And then, yeah, next we're gonna cut this into 8 strips. So I would say about like 2 finger width. And these are gonna be the size of your strips, but once we pull our fabric, it's gonna kind of turn into a little bit of a yarn. So they won't actually be this thick. All right, so you want to just do about 2 finger width. Sorry, was there a question?
You're cutting them so that like it's a circle in the end, like you have a whole ring of fabric from like the closed end to the closed end.
Exactly. So you're cutting it like that. Right? And then what we're going to do after we cut all our strips is we're actually going to just snip that off. So we will have the full width. And I'm just going to show you now quickly, because once we pull that, it's going to actually turn into a bit of a yarn. Like the fabric actually curls a bit. So that's what it's going to look like.
Pretty.
All right. So we want 8 of those. So I would say about 2 finger width with like my previous t-shirts that I used, about 2 fingers will get you the 8 strips. So just continue until you have those 8 strips.
I don't know why, but there's something so satisfying about the sound of cutting fabric.
I totally feel you. When you have good scissors, right? It's definitely a struggle if your scissors don't cut through fabric, but most scissors, I find, especially just ones I've had around the house, have been really great at cutting fabric. Are you guys all okay with your scissors over there?
So far, so good.
Cool.
I'm using hair cutting scissors actually, and they're working quite well.
Oh, that's awesome. Did you cut your own hair?
I did. Yeah.
Me too.
Awesome.
It was so fun.
It is fun, actually. It's nice and refreshing. And I saved money, which is fantastic. So
That's so good.
win.
I think this time in general is allowing all of us to save. Okay, so yeah, so once you have cut each of these, like I showed you, on one side of this circular piece, you'll just cut the end there, right where the fabric has the hem. And you'll just do that to all of the pieces. So then you'll have one full strip for all of them.
I have a question for you.
Yes.
Does it work if like you cut part way and then just rip the rest? I've seen my mom do that with.
I was wondering that too.
Ooh, do it. Let's see.
Try it.
Yeah, let's see.
Worst case scenario.
What do you mean?
Oh, it turned into like yarn.
I feel like it almost worked, but because our like cutting is uneven,
it wasn't the best.
That's okay. If the cutting is uneven, that doesn't matter. But sorry, what did you mean before about just pulling the, like literally just pulling it so hard that it rips on the end?
Yeah, like
Right,
you
like
start
you
the cut, like you make a little snip and then you just like, and usually it
Super satisfying.
Yeah, go for it if you want to.
You used to use wrapping paper and you would do that with the paper. It's so satisfying.
It really is.
I wonder, it probably works better without like an elasticy fabric, I would assume. Like a cotton might work better.
So the thing about the fabrics that are not elasticy is that, I'll show you actually.
Macrame, yeah, no, I'm sure they don't work quite as well.
Yeah, no, they do not, when you pull it, they don't stretch into the yarn. They just kind of stay flat and wide. So they're actually not as ideal. So if you do have a stretchy fabric, that's much better for allowing it to kind of bunch up like this yarn here. So you just want to pull each of them, which, like I'm learning, you guys all think is very satisfying. So pull your hearts out. And then, yeah, and then you have your 8 pieces.
Almost there.
Awesome. And then when you've done that, just spread them all out similar to how I have them. If you can, if you guys have the space.
I feel like ours are very big.
And then you said, so once we're done, we cut the ends off, like where the seam, like where the hem is, or the seam?
One of the links.
Yeah, so if you still have the circle, you want to just cut one side right where the hem is, because then once you cut one side, you'll get these really, really long strips.
Cool.
I'm sorry, that was you're looking to get 8 pieces, yes? Did I?
Yes, you want to have 8 strips. I have 8, right? Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, and then once you once you do that, are you guys done? Almost?
I'm
Take
not
your
quite
time.
ready, but I think most people
Take your time. Oh, wait. No rush, guys.
Maybe just give us 2 more minutes and then we will move on to the next step.
And in the meantime, I have a question.
Yeah.
Did you ever like try to DIY something and it turned out so horribly that you just like, like I don't know, a rag? Yeah,
That's a good question. Not that I can remember, maybe because I'm just stuck on like the last few things I made and they all actually turned out really well. I did the plant hangers. I made t-shirt yarn, which was really fun. And then one activity that I've done like 1,000,001 times is the t-shirt into a bag. I don't know if you guys have ever done that before, but yeah. Pardon?
So
Don't get that.
Yeah, I do a workshop at the public library or really wherever. Yeah, I
that
like
activity.
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, I also teach, as I mentioned, with Fashion Takes Action. So that is the activity we do as part of our full day program, and the kids love it and it's so much fun. And yeah, I always like to say at the end, like I said with this, is that you're your own designer. So, you can kind of use the excess fabrics to make little things on the bag and kind of make it your own design, which is so fun because it allows everybody to create in a way that gives them some self-expression, which I think is so fun.
And the kids are so good at that too. They
Absolutely.
have like the bandanas and like cufflinks and like chokers. And like, wow.
Yeah. And then you get to see like how innovative kids are with the fabrics and that you can do so much with it. Mm-hmm. Yeah. But yeah, have I ever like screwed up a DIY? Like definitely I have a lot of fabrics that, have been cut in different places that I wasn't so happy with. I don't remember what I was doing, but I have definitely like a pile of excess fabrics at home. And I'm always like, I'm going to keep you to make sure that I don't throw you away. And maybe I'll find a place for you at some point.
I feel like I have a couple of extra pieces left, but it's really cute. If you twirl it, it would probably work as a choker.
Right? Yeah.
I was also thinking, or if you tie some of them together, it would make a really good skipping rope.
Oh my gosh, do you remember those?
Wow.
I don't think so.
Am I giving away my age here? Do you remember those jumpsy ropes?
Chinese jump rope?
I don't know if that's what we called it, jumpsies, but you tied a bunch of rubber bands together and then put like, I don't know how to explain it properly, but it ended up being like a big loop. And then you put your two legs, you put it around your ankles. And either side, and you would have to run and jump over them. And if you got over, you would raise it a lither bit. So it would get higher and higher and higher.
Yeah.
We had that the same game in Mexico.
Yeah?
Yes.
That's so fun.
There. What do you call it in Mexico?
I don't remember.
I wonder why I know it as Chinese jump rope.
But okay.
Although I think maybe that one.
I don't know why. But we also did stuff with, taking it so it was around your ankles on two people, and then you'd kind of like jump over each one. Did you ever do that? Like instead of jumping over the full legs, you jump from like one to the next, and then you do like footsie things with it. Ooh, I like your. Yeah, you do. I love your headband, Adriana.
Did you see that? It's fun, right?
Show it to everyone because it's a very good idea.
Yeah, well, it's a nice way to use the leftover piece.
My mom says you can also use them to tie like your tomatoes to your poles in your garden.
There you go.
I love that.
Repurposing is so endless.
That was so dramatic, Lynn. I love that. You like really came up when you're like tomatoes. I was like, oh my God. So good.
In the meantime, we have a new hair tie.
I think we're ready eat that piece.
Oh my God, that's so good.
Oh yeah, and tying them into small little pieces for hair ties too. Yeah, that's always good because it doesn't hurt your hair.
Right. This is good. Okay.
Yeah. Oh, I love that.
Where's our extra one?
Our extra one.
That is so cute.
Are we all ready to
I think we're ready.
tie some knots?
Yeah.
Okay. Cool. Okay, so now you're gonna basically just tie the top. You're gonna collect them all from one end. Just line them up. And you're gonna tie, can you see my hands?
I can.
Okay. You're just gonna tie one giant knot on one side with all of them.
Okay, I'm gonna put these on the floor.
Yeah, so you probably want to work on a flat surface. I don't know where you are right now, Adriana, but yeah, and then ideally you want to spread all of the pieces out.
How's everybody doing? Ooh, they look like spaghetti.
Ooh, yay.
Yeah, it's looking good.
They do look like spaghetti. So once you have your knot, what we're gonna do essentially is make like 4 different groups. So you're gonna separate like 2 strands, 2, 2, 2, and 2. And then we're gonna tie knots with each of the groups. You guys good?
Super good.
Okay, so then we're gonna tie a knot about 1 or 2 inches away from the original knot. So you're gonna take that first group and you're gonna tie it like I said, 1 or 2 inches. All right, and then
More than 2
pardon?
inches. Will this be a problem if it's longer than 2 inches?
So it'll depend what you're going to be holding in it, because if it's too far away, and you have a really small pot in there, it might not sit very well, because this is going to be the part where your plant sits. It's going to sit in here.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I'll just shorten.
So this is actually the bottom.
Gotcha.
All right. But I think if it's a little bit more, like I can show you this one. So like that was my knot, and then I actually made it a few inches because this one was a taller plant, right? So you see here. So if you know what you're going to be putting inside, that's ideal too. But if not, I would just say like keep it shorter is better.
Okay.
Well, what kind of knot did you tie? Can you do another one so I can see?
Yeah, absolutely. So you're just tying like a knot with the 2. So you're taking it around your 2 fingers and then looping it through.
Perfect. Thank you.
You're welcome. And then so you want to do that with each group. Okay, so you did it with the first one, and then just continue with each set of 2, so that then you will have 4 knots. Make sense, guys?
Yeah.
Awesome. What color are your shirts?
I want to see everyone's shirts.
Mine is black.
Black. Cool.
Mine is royal blue.
Oh yeah, royal blue. I saw that one. Yeah.
Mine's gonna be an owl pattern.
Oh my God.
It's like an old pair of pajamas that are real worn.
Ours is
That's
white.
awesome. Yeah, so you can use anything. It doesn't have to be a t-shirt. You saw that we just cut the bottom. So if you use the pajama pants, that's actually really neat, because you can probably get longer strips from that. And you can have your plant hanger like a longer piece.
I'll show you pictures when I finish it, which is accountability right here happening.
Yay! Awesome. Okay, so let me know when you guys are finished.
Round 1 done.
Round 1 done.
Woo! Okay, so the next step is we're going to create 4 new groups. So you're going to do that first by taking one of the first strips, or your first strip, and you're just going to put that aside. And then you're going to take the next strip and you're going to grab the next 2, basically. So this one from the first group where you had that knot, and then take the next one from the second group, and then you're going to connect those. So then it's going to look kind of like a diamond here, and this is where you're going to tie the next knot. Does that make sense?
Yep.
Yes.
I can see that this might be something you'd be teaching the kids when the times go back.
When we go back, yeah.
Yeah.
It's funny, I was thinking about that this morning. I'm like, this is a great new activity instead of the t-shirt bag.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and then you'll just continue to do that. So you'll make the next one with the next strip, and then the following one. And again, you want to make sure you have that diamond shape, and then just tie another knot.
I think just a note for everyone that is doing it at home: try to place the same level to the next dot, the next knots.
Oh yes.
I was not measuring, and one of them is very like low.
Okay, yeah. So yes, good tip. You want to try and like line up your knots. If they're a little bit off, that's okay. But if it's like, you know, a big distance, you'll just see that once it's hanging. But again, that's where you're your own designer. Everything is okay. It doesn't matter. But if you want to fix the knot, you can go back and fix the knot also. But that's a really good thing to be mindful of. So thanks for bringing that up.
This is so pretty.
Yeah. You guys are seeing it now, eh? Okay, so let me know when you guys are done those 3 knots, when you have those 3 diamonds, because then you'll have the 2 strips left over from the front and the back piece.
Yep. That's where we're at.
Okay, cool. So then you're going to take those 2 and you're going to bring those together, and you're going to tie a knot here.
It's like learning.
And then when you tie that knot, you're going to see, if I can show it, it's kind of like that's exactly where your plant's going to sit, right? So now you have this really neat design.
Ooh, fun.
Right?
Guys, it's starting.
It already looks beautiful.
Yay. Yeah, and then we're going to do that one more time. So you want 3 sets of knots is basically what we're going to be doing. Now that everything is facing you like this, all you have to do is take one piece of strand from any of the knots, and then take one from its next door neighbor. And again, you're going to create another group, and you'll know that you're doing it right if you see the diamond. Make sense?
Yes, it makes sense.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Thank you.
I'm just mildly challenged. That is
How's everybody doing over there?
I'm so excited to hang this.
Does everybody have a plant already?
so many.
Awesome. That's great. Do you guys have a house full of plants?
We have very little light, so we try to grow things and then they mostly die. We have like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of them consistently alive, 6 of them, so we're doing well.
Awesome. That's good. 6, yay.
Yeah, I'll take it.
One thing that you can do is speak to your plants and tell them how much you love them. They will grow. They will grow more. What?
Yeah, I've heard that works.
Yeah, it does.
I will have to try it.
Try it.
Maybe we'll make the orchid bloom. We have an orchid that's just like, I don't even know how to describe it.
Yeah,
it looks really half dead, but it still is green. So I'm like, well, it must be alive. And
It will.
It put out a new leaf, so I don't know. I live and wait.
But it hasn't flowered in like 2 years.
That's okay. He'll come back. For sure. Okay. So once you guys are done that, let me know.
I think I'm done.
We're done.
Cool. Oh, wow. Is that the plant you're going to hang? Oh, I just saw a bunch of green. Oh, you have so many plants, Adriana.
Actually, this one I propagated yesterday. The snake plant had 3 pieces. Like it had 3 separate plants on the roots. So I cut them and then I replanted them. And now I have 3.
Wow.
Oh.
That's so nice.
Wood chip soil.
Oh.
Okay.
So yeah, once you do that, you're going to,
I think it worked.
you're going to put your plant in it.
Ooh, which plant do we want to use? I think the cacti.
Do that.
All right.
I feel like this is the tricky part.
Because it doesn't.
Yeah. Yeah. So it might take you like a minute to just get it to sit properly.
And this is the moment of the truth.
Yeah, basically.
It's very pretty though. Hold on.
I can't wait to see all of your plant holders, guys.
I feel like maybe.
And what's really helpful is at the bottom of your plant, just if you take each one of, depends if you have a square or a circle. If it's a circle, it'll be easier, but with a square bottom, if you just put like 1, 2, 3, 4 of the groups on either side, it helps it a little bit more.
Oh, the ivy, that's a great one. Yeah, this one's too delicate. Well, the ivy doesn't have a drainage thing.
Oh, wow. That looks awesome.
We'll figure it out.
Yours looks so long, guys.
I don't know how we're going to get the ivy through the holes. Carefully.
Ooh, fun.
So exciting.
Oh my gosh, it is so exciting. Yay.
Oh my gosh, it's so cute. I love this.
Yay. So yeah, you'll see like the knots come up the sides, which is really fun. And then when you guys are all ready, you have your plant inside, let me know, because I'll show you just what to do at the end. Look, my strips were much smaller, obviously, because I don't have too much string up here, but depending on your fabric or how long your strips are, it'll give you more room to play with the design.
I love it.
Ooh, so cute.
When you see it at the end, how it works, you can also start playing with the design.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Yay. So Adriana, you look like you made your first knot pretty high up, which is fine. Which is totally fine. But if you wanted to go back and tighten those, then they'll sit more secure around the bottom of the pot.
I think I'm going to do that.
Yeah.
But I love it.
But that looks so awesome. So then what we want to do at the end, if you do have a key ring, what you'll do, yeah, perfect. You'll just bring all of the strands through the key ring. All right. So, whoa, it's going to take me a minute to get them all through here. But essentially you're just going to pull each strand through, and then we're going to tie a knot, around the key ring. Does everybody have a key ring?
We're finding one now.
Okay, cool.
I have these little wooden rings.
Oh, that's perfect, Adriana. That's awesome. Yeah,
that still looks beautiful.
Yeah, it can be any circular object. A keyring is just probably what most people might have around the house. I'm sure many of us have extra ones on our keychains.
That is true.
Yeah. And then actually what we're going to do here, sorry, we're not tying a knot. We're just going to bring the fabric over the key ring. And then in order to hold it in place, we're going to use some of that excess fabric. So I'm going to just put this down for a sec, and I'm going to cut a strip where I have this strip from the bottom. And I'm just going to actually cut this. So this was the strip at the bottom with the seam that I cut off, but you can like cut a new strip. Basically, we just need another strip of fabric because we're going to pull this piece down and then we're going to wrap it.
Sophie.
Down here.
Great.
That's why it's better that I don't have my mic on.
What was that face for?
It was just like, oh, wow.
Yeah. Right? It's also awesome.
Yeah.
And then what's fun here is like, I just wrapped it a bunch of times. You could literally like make that strip into a braid and you can tie it around. You know, you can do a really cute little bow. Like this is where you can get really creative and spend a bit more time. And then you can cut off some of this extra fabric here. Like you can just make it look however you want it to look. And this is where I say, you know, you're designing the little thing by yourself or the big thing. And yeah, mine's quite short, actually. It's very short, but it's so cute because all of the other ones I've made are so long. So this is going to look nice. Yeah, look at mine, guys. This is so fun. I can't wait to see. Oh, yay, Adriana. That's awesome.
I actually really like the one that Adriana did. It looks very stylish, even when it's like very long.
Yeah.
Even though my knots are way too high, like my knots are way up here.
It matches you.
I literally was gonna say you're totally like on brand with your with your macrame plant holder with your outfit today. You're just looking so great. Okay, I'm gonna turn this back to
wear that as your purse around the house.
I'm gonna go walk to see those. Just bring this with me. No, it's super cool.
Yay!
I don't like it like that though.
Actually. How did everyone else's turn out?
Yeah, show me.
Did anyone?
How you guys doing over there? Oh, so cute.
It is pretty cute.
It's very beautiful.
What do we do with all these danglies? We just leave them dangling?
So you can cut those. Maybe you can make them into a braid or something fun. That's totally up to you. Mm-hmm.
Choose your own adventure.
Exactly. Yeah. Choose your own adventure. Yeah. Yeah. What do you guys think?
This is so cool.
I can't wait to do it.
Like, no, I got on Pinterest, but they don't.
So excited. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Thank you very much for sharing these skills. I love it.
It's my pleasure. I think it's so fun to find new ways to transform what we no longer love into new things that we love.
So much power in that.
Mm-hmm. Ooh, that looks so good, Adriana. I love that wooden key ring.
Oh.
What the heck?
Start sharing.
Amazing.
Let's see.
Hold on, we can't hear you. Let me unmute you. There we go. Did it work? No. Zara, unmute yourself so we can hear you. It looks great though.
Oh yay! Oh hi Zara, that looks so awesome.
So good.
So pretty. Oh, I love that.
Zara, it's very beautiful. You unmute yourself and talk a little bit. So everyone can see it.
I tried to unmute her, but it didn't work.
Oh. Got it.
Yay!
Oh, I was on.
I
wasn't showing.
Oh, it is working. Okay, great. Yay.
Here you go, Sarah.
It looks fantastic.
I love that.
Thank you.
Well done.
It was so much fun.
It's so neat to see the different colors and like the white on white with yours looks so elegant. I love it.
I'm so excited to put it up.
Yay!
We're still using the one we got it from the plant store in, like the cheap plastic one. We should probably upgrade.
What cheap plastic one? Oh yeah, mine's the
You
plastic
buy
one.
the things and they just come in these like plastic things. I just never
Yeah,
take
yeah,
it
yeah.
out or put it in another pot to disguise the
Yeah.
plastic. So it's much less attractive than some other pots that have been.
That's okay. Now you have a macrame plant hanger that makes it look 10 times better.
Automatic win.
Yeah. I just wanted to show this for those of you that might not have, a key ring. Like I just tied it over and left it with a big giant hole instead of used a key ring. So you can also do that and then just basically hook this on top of anything you have at home, whatever hook you're using. So that's an option too.
I really like that pink color. It's very nice.
It's so pretty.
I know.
Great way to add color to your apartment too, because it's not overwhelming.
It's true.
Yeah, I know.
Would people mind, or whoever is up for like holding up their macrame so I can take a picture?
Absolutely.
Okay. Hang on. Well, okay.
We ready?
Nice. Awesome.
Can you send that to us after?
Absolutely.
Okay, cool.
Okay, so before we all depart, I have the most important part of this whole episode. It's about to begin now. With
Really?
the lightning round. So, Cassandra, we have some questions for you. Very important.
Okay.
Yeah. So just name the first thing that comes to your mind.
Okay.
Dogs or cats?
Cats.
Cake or pie?
Cake.
Favorite sustainable life hack?
Ooh, macrame plant holders.
Necklace or earrings?
Earrings.
Guilty pleasure?
Cookies.
Me too. If you had a
Chocolate chip cookies, though.
now we know what to make for her.
Okay.
If you had a superpower, what would it be?
This is gonna sound so funny, but I feel like this is always what I said growing up, was like the ability to just eat as much as I wanted, but not let my stomach get full.
Oh my gosh, best superpower ever.
First celebrity crush.
Backstreet Boys.
Which one?
AJ. Wait, what did you say?
I can't remember which one AJ is. I'm like trying to picture him in my mind. I'm like, no.
He was like the odd one out that nobody really liked. Sophie's like,
Mine was Howie, was his name, I think.
Oh, Howie. Yeah. Yeah, look up AJ after, you'll be like, oh yeah, okay.
Beyonce or Rihanna?
Beyonce. But then I love Rihanna too. I liked her for a while.
Apparently she has a new album coming out.
Oh,
Yeah.
I'll look forward to that.
A rumor. I don't know if it's actually true.
We'll see.
And last question. If you could repeat any single day of your life, what would it be?
Ooh, that's such a hard question.
Oh.
That is really hard.
I would like to hear everyone's answer to this question.
You would like to what?
I would like to hear after you answer if anyone else has an answer to this question, because I'm totally stumped.
Okay. Yeah, I had like one thing and then another thing. So I'll just share both. The first thing was the day that I met the artisans traveling in Bali. I feel like that day was just so fun because I was very much in this flow state of just kind of being really curious and like doing whatever I wanted and just finding all of these really neat artisans to talk to. And then this kind of opportunity just came, and this artisan's like, hey, you want to sit in the shop with me and make pieces? And I was like, hell yeah. So I spent the whole day like being creative and learning about their tools and making art with recycled tires. And I was like, this is so cool. And that was definitely like a huge turning point in my whole life, not only because I was wanting to partner with these people, but also just because it changed my whole perspective on consumption and that there's a human being behind everything that we buy, and just my like outlook on life. So yeah, I'm so grateful for that day. And I think just my curiosity and excitement for travel. So yeah, that day, I guess I would definitely want to relive it and go back to Bali. You know, I think about being there now and I'm like, yeah, that. And then I think I already lost the other thing I was going to say. So that's the one. Yeah, thank you guys. That's so fun. And thanks so much for having me. Did anybody else have an answer to that question? What was the best day ever that you would relive?
I don't even have an answer to that.
Still just like,
I think for me, it's also the day I started to see my accountability in the environmental and social issues when I linked my actions. And it's not only one day, but still I'm learning, you know, like this is like a never-ending journey. And I would say that the first day, the day I decided to go to India, that I will choose it always, because it was the time I started to realize that every action in my professional life was having a social and environmental impact. So.
I love that. India. I want to go to India.
It's a very magical place.
Okay,
I think everyone says it. It's very wasted, this phrase, but India changed my life, and it did. And
I think traveling changes lives in general.
It's also a travel day. Is the day the day that I would like to relive is also a day that we were traveling. Yes, it's that day. We were in a small town in France. I think we're in Albi. Yeah, I don't know where that is anymore, but
middle of nowhere.
And I don't even know. This was a regular day. We didn't do anything specifically exciting, but it started to rain, I think.
It was like nighttime.
Yeah.
We were walking.
And we were like, oh, let's go to a pub or something.
I don't even know that we made it to the pub.
I don't think we made it to the pub.
Thinking we were going to go to a pub.
But it started raining. And I just felt so good and so free in that moment. I literally just like started running down the street doing weird dances. And people were definitely looking at me weird. But
that's so nice.
At doorways, just looking at this crazy tourist and like.
But you embraced it. I love that. I love that. So cool.
Would you like to share something?
Who? Me?
Who?
You don't have to. There's no mandatory sharing here. I was just...
Yes, feel relaxed also.
I feel like there's so many amazing days. It's hard to think of one in particular. I'll be super cheeseball and just say, obviously, the day I met Gary, because he's my friend. But I think if we're thinking about like these monumental days in our lives, I was volunteering in Tanzania years and years ago. And when we were done, we did a safari in Ngorongoro Crater, and it was one of the most incredible days of my life. And I think it was the moment that I really connected with not nature, but just kind of like wild animals and just that kind of nature that I had never experienced before. And it was just so incredible to see the animals on the savannah doing their thing in their habitat, and I had never seen that. And I can't imagine seeing them in any other way now. And it's changed. I think that significantly changed my life. So that was, I would relive that day a million times if I could.
I love
That's
that.
so special.
Yeah, that's beautiful.
But Gary,
carry all of these, you know, happy moments and memories into the rest of our day and the rest of our week. Thank you so much, Cassandra, for sharing with us your skills, your passion, and just yourself. Thank you for being here with us.
My pleasure.
To share on social media, just remember to tag at plasticfreeto when you share, or hashtag WE-Solation Nation, and you'll be entered into a giveaway. We're giving away some seed paper and some herb paper, so you can send off some nice little notes to your friends.
Awesome. And if any of you guys want to get in touch with me, I'm at Chic Made Consciously all over social media. I'm mostly on Instagram. And yeah, would love to get in touch with more of you guys in the community.
Yes, and if you guys have not heard of Chic Made Consciously, definitely check it out. I've been learning all about it this week. Head to my stories at Life of Lindura, and you'll find a bunch of information today about what the brand is all about. So, you know,
yeah, and
watching this now.
Yeah, and you actually have a 25% off code if you use Lynn25. And if you are in the GTA, I'm doing drop-offs until Saturday. So if you want to get your mom something that is ethical and responsible and beautiful, that will support small businesses, you can definitely check us out online. And yeah, if you have any questions, feel free to send me a message. Thank you.
Thank you so much for joining. It's so nice to see you.
I know, you too, guys. When this is all over, I can't wait to see you in person.